Good morning. Each morning I get up and I try to flip my calendar to the date and I read one of the sayings. We passed our calendars out last year and we're doing the same again this year, using the same calendar. And if you didn't get one, I hope you will. And remember that Reverend Wendy Lambert is using Weekdays with Wendy. Every night around 8 o'clock, she has about 5 minutes in which she explains the different choices we made for that day. But anyway, I was reading January 7th and just yesterday and said, "Therefore each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body." And I couldn't help but think that's one of the things we tend to forget, that we are all members of one body. This week's been a hard week for our country, with elections in Georgia, with what's going on right now in our nation's capital, with elections. It's so easy to feel like we are all splintered into so many different groups and we don't feel like one body. And yet it's when we are together that life is so much better. And yet if we're not careful, it really is us versus them. I read a great book. I highly recommend it to you. It was by Arthur C. Brooks, entitled Love Your Enemies. And it's a book really about our situation and our culture, our society right now, and the struggles we have, and how one of those real struggles is we make it them versus us. We dehumanize the other group of people. And that's what we do. We tend to say all Republicans are like this. Well, Democrats all think that way. Or we all tend to say, well, that's what Muslims are going to be like, or this is what Jews really think, or this is what all black people say, or we tend to put people into categories and they become they, and we forget that we are all members of one body. It's so important to personalize people, to get to know individuals, and then to come to realize what they are like. And I've been watching so much going on this week at political rallies and acceptance speeches, and now what's been going on in the Congress. And one of the things that I'm fascinated by is really, if you were to ask all these different people, we tend to have one ultimate goal for one another. We really do all kind of want much of the same thing. We all want to have meaningful relationships, maybe with a husband, a wife, children, friends. We want meaningful relationships. We all want a roof over our head. We don't want to be homeless. We want to have enough to eat. We all want to be able to have access to health care and to be able to take care of ourselves. We want to have work that is meaningful, that calls us forward. But you really stop thinking about it. It's like we all want so much the same thing. The question or the issue is we all disagree on how to get there. Should you have a tax cut or a tax increase, or do you incentivize, or you just let the free market work? We disagree on how to get there, but it's like we all really do want the ultimate end goals pretty much the same. And we forget that about each other because we begin to demonize and they are somebody different, and we forget to let people all be individuals and that we're part of one body. I told you earlier back in November about the John Wesley and his 3 rules for voting. I'm talking about back in November, we were getting ready for the election, but after this week I thought they were really worthwhile remembering again. It was October the 6th, 1774. I met those in our society who had votes in the ensuing election and advised them. 1, to vote without fee or reward for the person they judged most worthy. 2, to speak no evil of the person they voted against. And 3, to take care their spirits were not sharpened against those that voted on the other side. How important is that today? Don't let your spirits get sharpened for those who voted on the other side. To speak no evil of the person who you voted against. To remember that we all are wanting so much of the same things. We may disagree on how to get there, but we really have the ultimate same hopes and goals and dreams. been a tough week for our country. And right now, you and I, as the followers of Jesus Christ, get to decide, are we going to cause more problem? Are we going to try to help be a part of the answer? We can be a part of the answer when we remember how to live as the disciples of Jesus Christ, called to love your neighbor with no exception. Go out and make a difference today.